last week you said you guys worked out the networking and got everybody's networking working, is that correct?
More or less.
More or less,
I
what was the less?
I posted a guide that I compiled to the Zulip.
Yeah, cause so you, me, and Tristan had figured it out, and last week we had brought everybody up to speed on how to configure their
Oh, here it is.
networking.
I see you posted this today.
Markdown file.
I told you I knew how to do this.
So user uploads, but what we can do you know how to do pull requests on GitHub?
Yes.
Okay, you can clone our repo.
Do I need a key though?
No,
To do pushes, don't you need
no, you do a pull request, and then I would review the pull request and either ask you for edits or merge it. So I would do the merge. And that way.
to sync local changes to our branch?
Well, so there's two ways you can do it. Either you do a fork of my repo, and then you can muck with your own fork, and then you make a pull request to my repo, and then I control whether that merges or not, because it's my repo. And so then I look at your pull request, and if I approve it, I can merge it. If I want you to change something, I just send it. I make comments, and you dig with the pull request until I merge it.
I haven't done it that way before. I've always just pushed to a remote branch and then the pull request within the.
Is that are those on repositories that have team members? Yeah, so that's and then the other way to do it, and we can do this either way, is that you clone my repo, and usually we have people make branches. So you make, it's called a feature branch, and so you make, in this case, you make a branch called iseage setup or something, and it doesn't really matter too much what the branch is called, and then you muck with your branch, and you can push your branch up because you own the branch, and then you make a PR to merge the branch, and I look at PR, same kind of thing, except it's a branch instead of a fork, and that way the shape of the repo doesn't get out of control because, by too many chefs kind of thing. As we want to change it, that's cool. We wind up having to talk about it and make a good decision and all that.
I don't think I've done version control or source control with forks much. I've always done branching.
And branching is fine. I don't really, in fact, I started to write up how to do that into the README, but it's like, oh, it's just gonna be too much to put in. Oh, that's Dropbox downloads, that's not what I want. Google downloads, there it is. This is what we got. Instructions written by Axel Rasmussen on this day. Fresh Ubuntu server, no modifications, so we got Etsy net plan, and then changed Ethernet's your Ethernet. Change that to DHCP4, no, and then you've got whatever your address is. Routes, you have a default that points at the gateway, which clearly is .254. Henry and I sat here forever and I kept telling him it's the proxy, it's the proxy, it's the proxy. And then I looked at my routes and said, it's not the proxy. We were here for about half an hour or something.
Turns out, it is actually.
Turns out. No, and what happened was I looked at a script I had written that enumerated all the IPs, and I saw, oh, this other one, 254, it responds. And then I remembered, oh, 254, that's one of those places you sometimes put a significant, service. Yeah. So.
I have a script like that too.
Yeah, is the name server is 254?
No, that's the router.
We put the name server in here, so that might be. Maybe should be the proxy. Doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. I'll use it and I'll figure it out.
For my testing, they seem to be interchangeable even after reboot. So
that's interesting.
I'm not sure. Maybe the router is forwarding to the proxy too. So.
That's what I had set up and it was working, so I just left that as it was.
Okay.
You just duplicated that whole section, I guess.
Yeah, and then So is this the same section twice here?
You just duplicated that, I think.
Oh, I didn't think I could. Oh, I'm in code. But this is not, there we go. Got it, thanks. Place them, exit the file, and then you have to those go in Etsy profile, I remember that.
You could also go on the bash RC, but
The difference is that the bash RC would export them every time you start a shell.
Yeah.
Which means if you're not in bash, it won't.
It won't work, and profile runs once when you log in. And so ponder that. Like, there are implications, blah, blah, blah. He just named one of the implications. So, and the online stuff I saw said to put it in Etsy profile. And then, oh, app.conf, good, very good. Oh, and this is why my sudo commands to run app didn't work. Because unless I said sudo-i, because sudo-l, I think, whichever one. Well, I does not launch a new process. That's the benefit of -i. I had somebody jump on me about that. I was like, it's one process, man. But he was right. But this would make sure that if you run, however you run app, you're gonna get these proxies, right?
Right.
And sudo netplan apply, this is perfect, thank you, good write-up.
Yeah, I could see with the apps.conf, mine was working just fine, but Oxel's wouldn't work until we had specified the
App
proxy,
proxy.
the app proxy, yeah.
Yeah,
You might have-
my
if
app
you're-
also wasn't working until I added those apps.conf lines, which was weird because, as Henry mentioned, his worked perfectly fine without them.
Were you logged in as root when you ran yours?
No, I was logged in as the user I have here.
And then you did
Did you
sudo?
type in the proxy when you were setting up your server?
But yeah, I'll just say, without trying to untangle it all, which is that's usually my MO, let's go deep and blah, 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 is that it makes sense if you don't have the proxies defined in app.conf, that sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. How's that?
Yeah.
If you're in a session that has them defined otherwise, like via Etsy profile, which won't always be in play depending on how you're doing it, or they're in environment variables, then it'll work, should work. If you somehow get yourself into an apt command that doesn't have Etsy profile in play and doesn't have the environment variables, it'll fail. And that's what was happening to me with the specific way I was using sudo. There's probably other ways to get into that trap that I wouldn't know unless I made them happen. So yeah, sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't, unless you have that specifically set in app.conf. That's kind of the bulletproof way to do it, because app's gonna read that configuration file, right? So this is good, this looks really good. Thanks, guys. I'll have to do this on my VM sometime.
Well, I just reinstalled because I set the username wrong, so I'm doing this right now.
Okay,
Is it the username or the host name?
Username.
Is there a way to change?
yeah,
Yeah, but you need to log in as root, and I'm not risking my security to do that.
you can log in.
I dumped the contents
Actually-
of my shadow file multiple times over a Zoom share. You could do a lot.
Yeah, it's okay if you
Remember
log in as root to your own app, to your own server. But in Ubuntu, they might disable the root account. But if you just have to sudo to root, that's fine.
No, like you have to log out and log in as root, which you can't unless you set a root password, which I'm not going to do because then someone else can log in as root.
But you can always.
But you can undo that, you can go into, anyway, that's good, you can do it that way, but put it on the back of your mind, or put it on a list, we should talk about things later, maybe we should make a Zulip thread for that. Cause there's two ways you can do this without redoing everything. One is to go into single user mode or whatever it's called. And that means you get to be root without logging in. Sounds safe. And this is why you encrypt your disks and do all that lockdown stuff. It's just a different mode of Linux where it's an emergency mode. And the other one is that you can enable a password for root and then unenable it later.
You can always just delete it from the shadow file.
Well, there's actually a command where you can unset it or say, I want root's password to be not up. Yeah.
Blank.
But yeah, in the shadow file, there's a difference between asterisk and the other one, dollar, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I don't think it matters anymore. One of them means like the account is locked and the other one means there's no password. But the point is no string can possibly hash to that,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it won't work. Yeah. Anyway, this is good. All right, so, and then you didn't get to the DNS stuff.
We
Kind of
Tristan
did.
and I
Kind of.
did. Tristan and I made a valiant effort on Tuesday.
Ah,
And we could not get it around the proxy. So bind, every time you start the service,
uh-huh.
it tries to, ping, it tries to use the upstream servers that you set to resolve a couple host names to test connectivity, and they kept timing out. So the service actually was never started.
Well,
And
let's take a look at
we
that.
tried a few things, but we gave it the good old college try.
Yeah, what, I forgot the URL here, iseage2.org.
iseage.org.
Oh, what on earth is going on here?
Yeah, so we got like bind 9 to run. We set up like our own DNS zones. So now you could theoretically ping, for example, tristan.crdns.com, and then you would get a valid response because that DNS would work. However, you currently cannot.
Well, yeah. Did you get the service working? Because last I checked, it was still timing out and failing.
So yeah, the service itself is so freaking out because it can't actually send DNS requests to 8.8.8.8 or Cloudflare's one. However, I believe that if that were to be solved, you could very accurately ping like
You could use it for the local.
yeah, you could use all the ones that we set up beforehand in our own DNS zone and they would all work. However, if you tried to ping google.com,
Yeah.
naturally it wouldn't be able to because it would send a timed out request, DNS request to 8.8.8.8, which is weird. Except until I mentioned this to my dad, who was also a IT guy, and he said that what could be happening is it's very possibly forwarding the wget request out through the proxy, then a outside DNS is then handling that. Like a DNS outside of the proxy is taking care of that. So because if you nmap the proxy doesn't have DNS. So the proxy cannot possibly be taking care of the DNS requests. But if we set the name server to the proxy, then it works.
So, Axel, I need to get you focused back on what we're doing. So I want to show you something real quick. This is the man page for, I put up PWD at first. I couldn't remember. PWD shows you the working directories. Like, wait, that's nothing. So this is password, the man page for setting passwords. If you set the password for root and then use it, you can then use this -- delete to delete root's password when you're done with it. And that'll make it, what do they say? This is a quick way to disable a password for an account. And it sets the named account passwordless, which is different than having an empty password. An empty password is a real password. This sets it to passwordless, meaning there is no password that will work. Okay, so that's one of the options we were talking about. You don't have to rebuild the instance. You can log in as root, do what you need to do, create a new user or whatever, and even if your username's wrong, just use it. Don't rebuild your instance or make another user, that you want or something like that. But at this point in the year, don't make another instance. That's just gonna take time you don't wanna invest, I think. Cause we have high value targets right now.
very high value.
I do have a weird issue I've been having though.
Yeah.
So,
You wanna share?
sure, I'll share.
I got it. Cool. Hang on, that means I need to do Control Alt Shift Windows Control Space H. There we go.
What are you on, Emacs?
No, I'm on Zoom. Same difference.
So
You could probably.
Whenever I
incorporate
run-
some into Emacs.
whenever I run the apt command, like that gives me a syntax error.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I've gotten
Oh,
that
that-
error
I know
before
what that
because
is.
we missed a semicolon in the apt.conf file. It's a
Yeah,
very
something's wrong with
fix.
that.conf.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the
some
end of the
extra junk.
first, at the end of the first line and the end of the second line are both supposed to have semicolons. I completely missed it the first time and then spent almost like 10 minutes debugging it, and then I looked up a sample apt.conf file which had semicolons.
What?
I'm not even kidding. I was infuriated because no, it's impossible to use \n as your new line character.
I think you left the F off of app.conf.
Good with sudo though.
Yeah, only sudo can actually change that file.
Yes, I keep messing this up.
I do the same thing. Eventually, I just said sudo -i and did everything like that. I got tired of all the error messages.
Yeah, sudo su.
So that's how I used to do it until that guy, he politely corrected me. It bugged me for some reason.
That explains it. Thank you guys.
That's
Yeah,
power teamwork right there. Screw something. It used to be so hard for me. I just want to work on something for 14 hours instead of asking in the Slack channel that supported the thing I was working on. Hey guys, I'm one of those high pay grade people and I don't know what I'm doing. But it's so nice because like
that's a
GoDaddy,
lot of packages. Whew.
GoDaddy's culture, did you just say app list?
Yes.
So, GoDaddy's culture though, it's all right with that. I see people who are higher pay grade than me show up and say, so what's our standard for installing Python? Do we have a document for that someplace? And it just makes you feel okay,
Makes you feel better.
Everybody will do this. And the guy in my division, who's the other core architect, who's like 2 pay grades above me, he's just humble. He'll be in a meeting and he'll say, I'm not familiar with this product, this technology you're using.
Yeah.
Can you explain it to me? Can you show me some docs where I can learn about it? And by the next day he'll have recommendations, but because he's scary smart. But okay, so that should get you back on track. You can change route but you can hopefully do that later. And I don't have, is this the wrong profile? Let's try Chris person 1. There we go. I'm using a different browser because we got lots of windows open
Vivaldi?
in my this is Chrome. My other one that's open is Edge. I love Vivaldi and I quit using it because it doesn't render right on my larger monitor at home. It's real jaggedy and pixely.
It's a nice browser.
It is. I love it.
A little too googly for me though.
Well, they're all running the Chrome
Firefox.
engine except for Firefox and probably Safari.
Yeah, but Firefox is.
Is getting a little feature. It's featured different. I don't know if it's feature poor. Maybe it is, but with everything else kind of having the same configs and everything.
Chromium just doesn't work well with proxy chains. That's the only reason I still have Firefox installed. Just Chromium does not play nice with the proxy chains for.
Okay, I should probably share back. Proxy chains, meaning I'm not sure I'm familiar with that.
It's a command line tool used to manually set proxies. So you'll just say then you proceed all your commands with proxy chains that
funnels it through the proxies set. Like you can start listening on like if you have Tor installed, you can start a command line that will listen on a local port. And you just say proxy chains local host through that port, and it'll go through the Tor networks, all your traffic. Or if you want just one proxy, you can use it for whatever you're gonna use.
So is it something like SSL tunneling kind of, but it's not, but is it?
SSL, but it's kind of like tunneling.
Yeah.
It's just you specify a proxy list and you say proxy chains and map google.com and it will go through the proxy instead of.
This kind of looks like I didn't do it right.
No, it took a while for me to.
Okay.
So what I did to work around that is now if you refresh the page and then sign in again, it will work instantly.
Yeah. Do I have to
Yes.
refresh? I'm gonna live dangerously.
School 14 instead of team 14.
Oh.
Yeah. First that, but then log in. That takes a while. I refresh instead of letting that go through. It then takes me back to bam. There you go.
Bam. I tried it without refreshing because I noticed I tried it again without refreshing, and I noticed that my login failed immediately. And then when I switched the login name, it worked out fairly fast. So who's our? Oh, it's probably the one named DNS server.
Yep.
Probably.
We're very smart like that.
Yeah.
We're
And
we're gonna call it like the almighty DNS server, Zeus DNS or something like that we never did.
I'm gonna move that. I don't want it way up there. It can go. Look, just go away. How about? Good. It went someplace else. I like having this web console thing on the top because that's what we want.
Yep.
Okay. There are stopped jobs.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Yep, timed out, resolving, etc.
So that's the log of bind9 trying to start.
Okay. How do
Wait
I?
a minute. System cuddle restart bind 9 has been running for a long time. That is kind of weird.
I don't think so. I think just because I started it and then there was no more terminal interaction, it's just updating you on what happened since the last time you hit enter.
That's true.
Do I have to foreground the job? Kill the job?
No, the job is stopped.
I use
I don't have to do anything, don't I? But you're supposed to be able to
Yeah.
clean it up, right?
I use foreground. Yeah. I use FG and then Control C.
Okay, I thought I had to give it a job name, but there we go. So that should, and actually, I would assume that's an option with foreground, right? Job set. Okay. By the way, do you guys know about the command TLDR?
Yes.
I do
Not every
Yeah.
not every program has a TLDR page.
No. This reminded me of it because this is TLDR length. It's even shorter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
TLDR is a like
Yeah.
it's an
Acronym.
alternative command that has like one screen long summaries of what you usually do with the command.
It's convenient.
Okay, so this, wow, where's my, come on. Okay, so this is Ubuntu, so it's system cuddle, and which order does it go in? Okay, good. And is it named?
It can be either named or bind 9. They will both return the exact same thing.
Okay, thanks. So unable to fetch DNS key set. Oh!
Yep.
Okay. And what happened when you Googled that?
I don't
Okay,
remember.
let's see. Let's look here where I was saving the company $360,000 a year.
Whoa.
Well, is that hold it? 25, something like
A lot of money.
30,000. No, I think it was more than that. It was a lot of money. That's why I'm not ready today. I don't have an outline. That was my thing since I got back on Wednesday. That's what I did. So, one thing is you can't copy. There's a setting to let you copy and paste from these, but it's buried in there instead of managed keys. It's done. Find 9 managed keys zone. Somebody want to read through it? I can't probably have it at the same time. Unable to fetch DNS key set dot. Is that right?
Oh, but
dev1galaxy.org. Should have probably looked for.
Remove bind/managed keys.
Let's see. So we look at named conf options. Default bind.keys. File is etc bind.keys with the package located to the file. As such, it was necessary to specify the current file location by editing the look such that okay. And after saving, remove the likely jumped cache file in German. Okay. Restart bind in my caching server. Oh, so this is for the local caching server. So default location is etc bind.keys. Whoops. So let's verify that it's there. Anybody else have a? We should work on getting. We should check on whether the VPN gets us to this network so that we can use it. But they said it was etc bind.keys. It is not there.
That seems suspiciously small.
What?
Oh,
I
wait,
just-
there it is.
I looked.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, so we do have a file here and it hasn't been modified since September 19, so for whatever that's worth. So that's the right place. Default package locates that file. Oh, I see. The default location is here. The package locates it there where it is right now. As such, it was necessary to do this. Oh, okay, so the DNS validation auto is probably already there, but so they shouldn't have put that there. And then they removed that. So let's see what's in that named conf option.
Yeah, DNSSEC validation auto.
And there's no Vim, is there? Oh, there is.
there is.
Woo.
We installed
Thank
that,
you.
yeah.
You guys care.
Yeah, we
No,
yeah,
I
we
got
are
all excited. I forgot
heartless
what the
thieves.
file name was. Oh, it's var. No, Etsy bind name deconf options. Okay. So what's we looking for here? You put it down right there. Oh wow, no.
So, real fast, why is one of our forwarders set to our loopback address? That could hypothetically cause.
That's
well,
for
that-
DNS mask.
I tried to do some debugging on Friday.
But
I don't
did you
blame
put
you.
that in there?
Except that could theoretically cause a very likely infinite loop.
Did you put the 127 in
Yeah, I
there?
did.
Okay, we'll get that out of there. The other thing that if that had been there by the service, most servers run DNS mask locally as a
Yeah.
caching service, but since this is a DNS server, probably don't want to do that. Okay, so
Yeah, I
they
was
actually put it in.
I just threw a bunch of stuff on the wall and see what would stick. I just did a lot of fuzzing.
I don't blame you. Yeah, because had that actually worked, that would have been ecstatic. Except what I'm thinking is if it forwarded it to the loopback address, naturally the loopback address would have received it and then forwarded it to its loopback address indefinitely.
Yeah. Maybe. I can probably delete that.
I can't paste here either. Bind keys dash file. And it's Betsy find. That look right? Oh, they put it in quotes. Does that look right?
Yeah.
All right. And then they said system control, we start line 9, I'll go the other way here, switch it, line 9, name D, I can do both.
I just learned yesterday you can clear your terminal by hitting Control L instead of typing clear.
Yeah, but that leaves the scroll back.
Yeah, Chris, and then once again, this is the error. Is this is the issue that we got? Line 9 is now timing out on its attempts to contact. I would guess
Oh,
and send DNS requests to all those. So I just backgrounded it and then looked at the log messages that
no, hang on,
that we got.
one thing we forgot to do is get rid of that.
Oh, that's true.
He knows the line delete key button. Keyword shortcut.
And, oh yes, he does.
It's the only one I know is delete one line.
Okay, so resolver priming query complete, blah, blah. And it's trying to time out these guys, 153. Oh, it's trying to resolve these. So, and you have,
One's the proxy, one's the gateway.
oh. So why are we forwarding to these guys? Who are those guys? 144.76 and I know who 199.100 is. Who's 144.76?
That's the
That's the router
gateway.
or gateway. I would guess the gateway.
What? Oh, okay. That's our network, right?
Yeah.
That should be, those are DNS forwarders. So if we don't know the answer to a DNS question, where are we going to send it?
Yeah, this is the issue that we then ran into. Where are we going to send it? Well, we tried sending it to 8.8.8.8, except it has no contact to 8.8.8.8 because there is no DNS forwarder.
Yeah.
Well, but did you set up the network settings on this server the same as you did on the other servers?
Yeah. We
So-
actually cloned it from we actually cloned this one from
you did?
from Henry's server to begin with.
Well, so that should, if as long as it has a route to 8.8.8.8, it should work.
That's the problem. There is no route.
Why
Well,
not?
what if we tried to make one in the netplan file, because it has a routes section. We could do to 8.8.8.8 via the proxy.
I mean, I don't. Yeah. So HTTP requests can obviously go through the proxy, but I didn't think that the proxy was built to handle DNS forwarding as well.
Well, it's worth a shot.
I mean, of course it
DNS
is.
on
Because if it
UDP,
works, it works.
right?
Wait, really? I thought that DNS was a TCP.
No, it's supposed to go like as fast as possible. Pretty sure it's UDP 53.
I mean that
Go
would
ahead
make
and-
sense.
Go ahead and Google that right now. I think if you look in services file, it'll say it'll have UDP and TCP, but Google that really fast. I think it's typically on UDP.
Okay, I see it. Yeah. So DNS actually by default does use UDP. However, it will use TCP in the case that the UDP connect or request like doesn't work, times out, etc.
Yeah, and you can see here, I'm not able to get there.
Yeah.
But it's not because I don't have a route, because you can see I can do a wget against google.com and that works.
So what I'm
So-
thinking is happening there is I think that the 3128 port is built to handle HTTP forwarding,
Yeah.
FTP forwarding, HTTPS forwarding. However, once we start sending it DNS requests, it freaks out because it's expecting either FTP or some class of HTTP.
Yeah, so
I
I
don't-
think, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if because there's no port 53 on the proxy and there's no port 53 on the gateway. However, if we send DNS requests to them, like if we set our name server to those, for some reason it works.
Right, so right now it is very important to know which of these is actually a DNS server. I really don't think it's both of them, but it could be. Let's take a look.
I don't know if it's either of them because
Well, we're gonna find out right now.
true. Yeah.
And I'm using NSLookup. Please forgive me, GoDaddy friends.
Nothing wrong with NSLookup.
It doesn't work right all the time.
Well, maybe there's something wrong with it.
Okay, so if I do this and I say google.com, that's not working. I say
Wait, connection refused
yeah,
versus connection timed out. Well, so what I did to test that was I telnetted to port 53 on 199 and on the 144. However, both of them, however, it did not work on either of them. And then I tried telnetting to port 22 on both of them, which they both had open, and it worked. So it wasn't a telnet issue. However, when we sent the DNS request specifically to that, it says connection refused versus timed out. Kind of like it's actively accepting it and then saying no versus just hitting a port that doesn't actually have anything listening on it.
what was the utility to examine the DNS client configuration? Do you remember, or does anybody know? It's a cuddle command, like DNS client cuddle or
Resolve.cuddle.
resolve cuddle.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
to be
yeah,
young
resolve
and have a
cuddle.
memory again.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's an E in it.
There is.
There is an E. Okay.
Yeah. So right now it's hitting those guys.
.2 is the server that you're on, by the way.
Yeah, you're on .2.
Okay. So is did on here?
Yeah.
I think that, hang on. Okay, so they've got the syntax right.
That is weird though.
Okay, server 1.1.1, okay. And I would assume I can't do that here. Let's just double check. This should fail because of the proxy, that's our theory, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna time out. What happened when we tried 127? Okay, connection refused, that makes sense in its own way.
But
And then
even
we'll try, we're getting an answer from somewhere, right?
true.
Oh, maybe not. We'll come back to that in a second. I just had a thought. It may
boy.
die from loneliness, but I just had a thought.
I don't know why our server isn't actively accepting DNS requests on port 53.
That
I think I know
command
what's
you
happening.
just entered right there.
Yeah.
I just ran it and it gave me an answer.
On
Wait,
your
really?
own server?
Yeah.
All right, so something's not.
Wait a
set up
minute.
the same here. Hey, I got an idea.
That's weird. Wait, Oxel, you ran what server did you tell it to use? Like the 144.2 or what?
The 144.2.
That's really weird. Wait, and it went through. Like you actively got a valid DNS answer?
Yeah, it gave me an answer.
Well, what did you DNS? Like the standard google.com?
Yeah, just
Oh, duh, hang on,
That's
none of
really
us
weird.
noticed this. I didn't type .com. Okay, so I have to do all those again. Then that's fine. So we'll make sure google.com doesn't work
You
at one.
requested the scan which requires root privileges. Okay, port TCP 53 is closed.
Oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Of course. There are different firewall rules for TCP and UDP. UDP is probably closed by default in leaving TCP open, which very well could be affecting something.
TCP is filtered on the gateway but closed on the proxy.
I think what you guys should focus on, I'll keep testing, but what's different about his setup than the others?
mine is a fresh install following the instructions I laid out. That's the only
It's
thing
fresh.
there.
So we should look at what he's got and compare it to this as soon as I'm done testing this stuff. 1111, 147, 76, 92, and 199.100.16.100, right?
So the gateway is the only thing that has port 53 open. It's UDP open.
And this one get a
So
can you do what I just did there? Type NS lookup and then inside of it type server.
NS lookup server.
What's it say?
Um,
Three server or your servers are.
so it's just got one. It's default server 127.0.0.53 with address 127.0.0.53
Thank you.
So it's sending DNS requests to itself, which I believe is because 127 is a /8 address. So the
Well, that
.53
doesn't-
should be redundant.
But you can have different addresses in the loopback space.
Yeah,
So
which is
he's talking to, that's an address that is probably used by that DNS master, the DNS cache service.
if my if my memory serves me right, yeah, I do believe that name D listens on port on loopback.53.
Well, name D is
Which
isn't
name
that
D?
bind D? Isn't that bind?
In this
Doesn't matter,
on
we're
the
talking
DNS
about-
server it is.
Hang on a sec though, Tristan.
Yeah.
Axel, can you then, and it's exit to get out of NS lookup.
Yep.
Can you type resolve cuddle RESOLVECTL?
or no space.
one.
There's
Yeah.
a DNS servers line, what's it say?
144.76.90.254.
He's pointing to the gateway.
Okay.
Whereas yours looks like it's pointing to the outlet.
And that's not working for us either. One four four 7690-254, right?
Yes.
Oops. Okay, so let's go through Axel's doc, because in it there is salvation or condemnation.
Make sure you have the semicolons at the end of apt config.
Let's see here. Where did oh, it's in code, right? So, okay, might as well look. We'll go from the top, etcnet plan, installer config. So, and so, subiquity. Axel, does it look right?
You have an extra address. Actually, 2 extra addresses.
What do you mean?
Under addresses, you have 2 extra.
True. Neither of our and there doesn't even have the gateway. It's pointing to itself again, and then the proxy.
You want
Nowhere is
that
it
to be
pointing.
254 at the end.
For the address?
Yes.
Oh, the name server address. Sorry.
Yeah, names are great.
Yeah, you want that to be 254.
I typed the digit 5 without typing I to insert. In Vim, that means I want to do whatever I do next 5 times. So, okay, so routes via, is this the gateway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Addresses were /2.
/2.
And did we decide to use /24? Oh, we didn't get to decide that. Are we /24?
That's what it says here.
It's in the doc, right?
Yes.
/24 254 254. So this looks right. Version 2.
Version 2.
That wasn't in your doc. Did that get popped into yours?
No, it's only looking at the spot under the Ethernet that you're using.
Okay.
That's the only part the doc's looking at.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll try that. And we had exit the file. I think Etsy profiles got a better chance of being like what
Your
you
doc
thought.
includes net plan apply, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's near the end.
All right, so Saracen. Who's Saracen?
That's me.
That's not surprising because the other guy would be Bacon.
Yep, that's
True.
That looks correct.
199, 116, 100, 3128. I don't scan well, so I do this in pieces. HTTPS, FTP. And they're all exported and none of them have S's. Okay. And did you know this, that in Linux, it's not considered a proper text file if it doesn't have an empty line at the end.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It seems most programs are just fine without it. But I've been taking, like if you're writing like Markdown, the linter will say you need an extra line at the end, or Python's linter will say, why isn't there an extra line? It's
Some programs that count number of lines in the file are really only counting the number of return new line characters.
didn't know that.
Like word count -L, I compare it as I'm writing a command line utility. And it does the same thing. If you have no new line, like if you put text in the first line, and then don't have a new line character, you do word count -L, it'll say 0 lines in the file. It'll think the file is empty.
So Etsy apt conf. Okay, that's there. Oh,
Not the directory, just the conf.
but there wasn't one.
It wasn't a
Well, just then make it.
Yeah. If I have to, I guess. He wants me to make it because he wants me to mess up the semicolons. They're not in the guide.
I edited it. I did not realize that until
Okay.
I did it myself.
So I have to type all of that? Okay.
Yep.
Acquire. 2 of them, I think.
Yep.
HTTP, bang bang, HTTP, bang bang.
Capitalized proxy.
Thank you. Keep going. Space.
quote unquote, http://199.100.16.
Oops.
.100.
Yep.
:312h.
All right, and then just.
And then the same for HTTPS proxy. Just make sure you add the semicolons.
Both those. Well, that was the opposite of what I wanted to do there.
HTTPI, we're cutting our own protocol.
Yeah.
Then add semicolons at the end and you're all good.
All right.
Okay, so we are good.
And the only other thing it says is sudo netplan apply and restart.
Do so. That would be a good alternative to sudo, right? You try to do something and it doesn't work, and so you say, do so. I might make an alias just to freak people out. Wait, you typed sudo wrong. I did not.
Do
You
so.
typed do so wrong.
Oh, I get it. I see right now.
Sudo, I forgot, net plan, apply.
Yep,
Oops.
that works, but it's not right.
But,
Netlan.
yeah. Permissions are too open.
I tried changing that and fixing that. Any possible solution just the only possible solution is to reduce readability and writability to only root, and the group and others cannot see it, but then it complains about something stupid. So
See.
it's a warning. I left it as it is and it worked.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a shot here. Let's say like 640. Based on what you said, I'm gonna make an intelligent guess. I'll try that. Should not be accessible by others. And so then you try something like this, probably.
Yeah, I did that. And now if you make it, there's an error. Exactly.
So
It is running.
I'll open the
actually-
switch.
It actually wait. It actually is running. It just doesn't know it's running because it doesn't have access to the file because it can't read it.
Lovely.
No, believe me, trust me on this. I spent almost 2 hours trying to figure out what the heck OVSDB server is, and but then once I reverted my changes and to make it readable by both the user and the group and others, it worked.
Huh.
That's weird. So this says the service isn't even installed.
Which is weird because now if you run sudo netplan apply, it works. Even though the first time it said like that, that OVSDB.service is not running.
ICDB.
Well, would like to see what that error is about, though. I would Google that error.
Believe me, I did. I found a whole bunch of nothing. Which then, and now apparently OVSDB server is magically running now.
Well, like if I do this.
Well, no, because I don't know where they even got that OVSDB server, because the OVSDB server.service obviously was not running before or after, but for some stupid reason changing the readability of the installer for some reason made it not run. But I didn't even know that OVSDB had anything to do with that netplan installer file.
I wanna see this again, and as soon as I get the error message. Whoops, sorry. Okay. Warning, can I call open vSwitch? I'm just gonna get that.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back to work the way it was. I forgot all of it. Warning, you cannot call open vSwitch. Wrong guy. Escalante.
I did that and it didn't work. Well, so what they're saying is in order to fix the open permission error, all you have to do is make it only accessible by the user. But then once you do that, you then get that open vSwitch issue.
Must first bind a NIC to it using this, otherwise the daemon fails. However, this breaks your internet connection. To solve this problem, I had to install Open vSwitch switch DP. Let's try this. It's a 0, but if it does work, we can uninstall it.
Yeah.
Apt install. Oh, how old is that app? It's not too old. Apt install Open vSwitch.
So, are you just installing this and that's all you've done so far? There's some insanity going on that I'm not understanding.
Who?
Well, we're getting an error message that Tristan figured out a way to replace with a warning message.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
I'd like to remove both of them if possible.
That's what I call redneck networking.
Red networking?
Now, redneck networking. It's a term from robotics. Redneck engineering is when you like duct tape, zip tie your way through everything. Redneck networking is when you replace a error with a warning. But it works, so it's okay.
No, not tab size equals true. Tab size equals 8. There's quite a difference.
Right. What?
Shut me out, man.
I did?
Don't worry about it.
We SSH to it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good way to do it. SSH to everything from our own VMs. We don't need the VPN. Is that what you were doing?
Huh?
We SSH from your own VM.
From my own VM.
That's
Yeah, so
easier than using the VPN from, yeah. Ooh, that was a
That's
cool
only a
little-
good idea if you have only yourself able to do that. If anyone can do that, that's a bad idea.
Oh,
Oh, we've got 3 jobs trying to start, 4 jobs. Oh, and they started? Nope, 3 jobs. One is bind, one is something, and one is snap.
snap.
Why?
Yeah.
I guess snap is always an Ubuntu thing. Snap started. Come on, let's see. Still got bind going. Well, look at that. Now I don't know how to log in yet.
Admin
CDC.
and password. Even better.
This might be a console that comes backspace. All right, so. Oops. Does that look better? Some journal files were blah, blah, blah.
That's a lot of nonsense just happening there. You've only just started your machine.
Um, what else cool?
Whoa.
Cloud init. Oh, that's something that runs when the VM starts, I believe.
That is what we call a program that did not a programmer that did not switch the output stream for their program. So
Oh,
it's printing error messages right to the console where you are currently typing instead of to a log file.
that's true. Lots of things show up on the console. Oddly. Yeah, I don't know. Not defending it, just saying. So we are pointed at 254 for our DNS. But before, we were also, let's see. Dum.
Timed out.
So we can definitely get there. But we can't tell that for UDP.
Okay.
Now what? I'm gonna try repeatedly. Just let that happen while I drink some Dr. Pepper.
It's the best soda out there.
That's the same server, right? And that's the resolve conf. Sometimes that was the thing, sometimes that and resolve cuddle wouldn't agree.
Net plan sets resolve conf.
Sudo, let me just do this. I'm not sure if we ever, do we have to do net plan apply after reboot?
After reboot out.
I don't think
So.
because I'm not sure it actually ran.
Well, give it a shot. You can also do net plan get. If you want to test, make sure that it did everything correctly.
DHCP4, oh, DHCP4.
It's supposed to be DHCP4 false or DHCP4 no.
Doesn't look like it. Probably false since it's given this back to us.
Oh,
Right.
it might be different. Yeah, okay. Good point.
All right. And does this still work? Oh,
So wget looks at the
Okay.
bash NT profile.
yeah, it took a little bit, but it saved
Yeah.
it. Nice.
So like wget goes looks at NT profile, but for whatever reason, dig doesn't.
Oh,
What
that's
did
not.
you just do?
I downloaded Google's homepage,
How?
Wget.
and that's probably
That was working with what I have here.
yeah, it worked here too. Did I mean to use That's a big page. There's a small page that you can get from Google, and that's why I use that one. Now see, that's a big one,
It's a big.
because their redirect page is small. That's the one, google.com, not www.google.com. Google.com just redirects to www. It's just
The document has moved.
that much.
It's just google.com.
And wget will save it to a file, curl will just show it to you. I think.
W gets more useful. Certain things.
So it's just google.com.
Yep.
Yeah, add that to the guide to make sure that the user can verify that's working.
Yeah. Okay, so let's give it a Etsy point.
LSA LDF.
Okay, so there's nothing up there that belongs to mine. And so here we've got, let's do this. Looks like the things you guys have edited or have been touched by the service are the bottom 5 or so. So you've got a couple zones, ddreverse.com, named conf local, dvforward.com, then named conf options, bind.keys. They probably supplied for you, I'm guessing.
Yep. So the ones that I made are going to be the db.forward.com and then db.reverse.com. The reverse is a clone, is a edited copy of the db.127, and the db.forward is a edited copy. Yeah, there you go. DNS 144.76. So I set all that up using their documentation. So I believe that all that should work. However, the bind 9 issue is still that it's attempting to contact the outside servers and failing. So, and there's nothing in the guide that says point set the forwarders to X, Y, and Z. They just tell you how to set up yours. They actually say to point their forwarders over to 1.1.1.1 and 1.0.0.1. But when I did that, I still got the same timeout error.
Yeah,
So
this looks
their
good. I'm not sure
documentation is
about this
flawed.
part of root.localhost. I'm not sure that should be in there. But
I wasn't sure either, except they didn't change it in their documentation, so I didn't change it. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
So what should I be adding here?
Well, we're just trying to debug this right now.
Just trying to do.
And once you debug it, I can write down what you did.
Exactly.
Erase.
Okay, so I mean, this works. The DNS server will resolve. It just resolved the DNS address for me. What's the other one? Is it called Tristan?
Yep.
That
Yep,
CRDNS?
Yep, it's just Tristan.
So it resolves the addresses. The problem then is that it's not, two things. We're not using it, that's one. And can it forward? Right, that's the other question. Whoops, .com. And it doesn't look like that's working, but that's not surprising since we can't use the server we're trying to forward to, which I think was the 254, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Name D. I always want to say bind. So we're forwarding to the 254. We should probably get the 100 out of there. And the 254 is the right forwarder. And we could change the listen on to have it listen on the local host as well. But I think it's fine to have it just listen on the quote unquote public, it's not really public, but the publicly routable API or IP address. My watch app said that my mental and physical capacities were not in sync today.
What?
I don't know how it knows what coherence was looked at. I had this watch app that looks at my heart rate variability, for which there are like 20,000 research papers, and it's been used since the Apollo program in the 60s to assess your health and your physical stress, not your emotional stress, but your physical stress, which should actually be like in this middling level for alertness and stuff. And it's been doing a great job, like tracking when my energy feels low. It says your energy's
Samsung
low.
watch or
Yeah, I left it at home. But this morning it was like, dude, what happened? And I was like, it's been a long week. So when I say something like, get the word IP address wrong, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of expecting that today.
Yeah.
So then I'll go ahead and restart. I don't think this will make any difference, but I'll go ahead and restart since I made a change there.
And once again, the famous timeout DNS check requests.
Are you tailing the log or something?
No, I just have experience with crap like that. Every single time I would restart it, I would put the job in the background and leave it running, and then check the log files. And every single time the log files say like timed out request on insert forwarded DNS request insert forward DNS request address here. In this case, it'll Control Z actually puts the job in the background.
Yeah, I don't want to though. I'd be interested in tailing the logs. It started at boot time, so I expect it to start. But we should look at the logs and see if there's anything else useful there. But I guess I could put it in background while I look at the logs. So our messages is probably a file. And when I do -LATR, it's because I can remember the word later, and it puts the new stuff at the bottom. And LA is long, and A is include the dot files, and T is sort by time, and R is reverse. But I have to think about that. Later is really easy to remember.
Actually, why not use the journal cuddle? That's what we started using because digging through the log directory is a pain in the butt.
Journal cuddle like that?
Journal
Yeah.
CTL deck and then EU,
Like this?
yeah, space and then name D.
Oh.
Yeah. There you
Okay, so we still got this key zone issue that we were hopeful that we had fixed.
What needs to be deleted?
Oh, but you know, it could, so
RM-F/
our problem, it's a bootstrap problem, right? We can't resolve names like ntpubuntu.com without using this name server that we can't use.
So call it redneck networking, except why don't we just find the source of what's attempting to resolve ntp.ubuntu.com and then just remove that file.
No,
or at least comment out that line.
Well, ntpubuntu.com is what's trying to resolve the file is named, right?
Yeah.
And what's trying to resolve the address if you try to get rid of the stuff that's requesting the resolution, you're gonna just start shutting off services. Right?
Yeah,
Because
true.
it's the services. I can tell you NTP is a network time protocol. It's the thing that keeps clocks in sync.
Yeah.
And if you get
Alright.
clocks out of sync and you start to have them network together, and they're using, if you start to actually have them communicate with each other using Kerberos or Active Directory, which also under the hood in relatively new versions of Active Directory uses Kerberos under the hood, and the clocks drift too much, they will refuse to honor each other's Kerberos tickets.
Sure.
Because they have to be kind of in sync. I don't know what the tolerance is. It's not ridiculous, right? But they have to be, basically they have to be talking to a reasonable time server every once in a while, or everything breaks. So yeah, we probably should leave NTP running, right? So yeah, each of these is gonna have some purpose. But so the thing we need to fix is why we can't connect to that 254. And what I think would be the best thing to do at this point is well, you can either do a deep dive and try to diagnose what's going on here, which is entertaining and educational. I'm not just saying that to sound cute. But on the pragmatic side, if this is happening at work or at the contest, I'd say start a new one. You have a good networking guide now. Apsil's got a guide that gets DNS working. We can't get DNS working as a client. When you build a fresh one, DNS works as the client now. So start that way and then add bind to it. See if it works. Right? Because adding bind isn't a overly burdensome thing to do. It doesn't take that long, right? Don't kill this one, because this one has, your forward and reverse zones. I would want those files. Just because they're a pain in the butt syntax wise to get right. They're really fragile in terms of, semicolons.
Is it like that one language where you need 7 spaces to indent and only 7 spaces?
COBOL?
That might be it.
Or there was one on the AS400. I mean, these were not esoteric. They weren't SO lines. They were widely deployed languages.
Yep.
Yeah, COBOL I think starts in certain things start in column 8 and blah blah blah.
Oh, here's someone who asked a question having exactly the same problem as us. You
Wow.
wanna know how many answers he got?
0.
0 answers. Still
Which
open.
which problem? The DNS key or not resolving?
His question is how to properly point HTTP traffic to a squid proxy with bind. So.
So is dig the only thing not working?
No, well dig NS lookup doesn't work, and when we look at the named logs, it's not able to. The bottom line is that named can't forward its requests, so it's authoritative for its own zones, which makes it authoritative for like 3 queries right now that it can resolve. But then when it gets any other request, it can't send it to the 254 server, which in turn would send it to the real world. So.
I'll write that down and say that that's an issue and that we don't have an answer.
Yeah, well, but it's only for building out bind, right? So it's not an issue for the setup you've already listed for any other use. It's just for DNS.
I'm just gonna say that those are issues and put that at the footer of the file.
Let's see what the.
So all right, so I'm now curious about for some weird reason that whenever we send requests to that server, they get denied. because that thing said that it found two CPUs, so it's now setting up two UDP listeners naturally. So wouldn't that logically work though? Because if DNS by default transmits and receives using UDP, we shouldn't really have an issue sending requests
Well,
unless we're sending requests with TCP.
well, I'm not familiar with the number of CPUs affecting the number of listeners,
I just found it in the log messages as you
but
were scrolling past.
but so are you saying you saw issues connecting to the local?
Well,
I can
well,
connect to the local DNS and I can get it to resolve names. The connection issues I see are when we try to connect to like the 254.
Well, so what I was thinking was for some weird reason when we sent a DNS request to 2.2 or the DNS server, it would always get denied. Like even when you used the local host address, it would always get denied for some weird reason.
Well,
I don't know
that
why.
was because, I believe that was because, we're only listening on the 90.2. We're not listening on the local host.
Well, oh yeah, that's true. Well,
That's what's in the conf.options file.
yeah. Listen on 90.2.
Yeah,
But then, hmm. But then I was thinking that, but when we sent DNS requests to, or at least when I did, when I sent a DNS request over to 2 to 90.2 from mine, the last time I checked, it returned like I couldn't get anything back.
you mean when you send it from another host?
Yeah.
I haven't tested that. I'm just trying to get, because I know that, I think that's like not this problem that we're working on. Because right now, if we don't get the forwarding to work, it's useless, right? So if that kind of a problem that you're talking about, if it's just a matter of like a firewall setting or something, that's not a big deal to solve.
True.
But let's see here, we got ERR. Are you, do you have somebody have a keystroke logger on, or? Actually, you did that, I think.
Annotations.
Yeah, can we not do that? 'Cause it's
Where
right
did
where I
I,
wanna
you
type.
know what, undo? There's this silly thing where Control Z doesn't work.
There we go, thanks. So let's see, that's that, in Linux, it's P,
Yep.
rep 53. So,
All right, that's even
yeah,
weird.
it's only listing on the 90.2s, but I'm
On
not gonna look at
TCP.
the firewall rules from the console because I'll trip all over myself. Maybe Henry can, I still can, but I'm not gonna worry about it. It works locally, that means it can work remotely.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, true. Then
yeah,
then it really is just a matter of actually listening of changing the firewall rules then.
or something, or yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Hmm. Then
So what do you think? We got 13 minutes. Should we build a new one?
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, we can do that, and then would you merge my pull request?
I will look at it later.
Okay,
Take it
Or-
into consideration.
Hmm?
Take it into consideration.
I see. That'll work too.
Or we could use Axel as or is that your personal VM you just set up?
Yeah.
Probably, okay, so we don't wanna use that one. I can't remember how long it takes to build one of these things out, but I think the answer is too long.
I mean, you can not build a new one and just reinsert the CD drive and boot from that.
Yeah, but you can't install a DNS server running from live CD
No.
Because
He's
No, I
saying,
mean, install over your current,
he's saying to reinstall it, but
oh, yeah,
reinstall instead of making a new VM.
yeah, where's the fun in that?
So are we nuking?
So
Click, 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 click.
Are we nuking?
I would
DNS
say
server?
keep the DNS server, rename it in,
Rename it to DNS.
rename the iseage name to make it clear that it's broken or whatever. Yeah, deprecated. But if for no other reason, just experience wise, there might be some files on there you wanna compare to, you know?
Yeah.
Well, there it goes.
Yeah, and then, one free vending machine item for anybody who works on a DNS server this week and it's working by next week's meeting.
It has to,
Bounty, this is my version of a Stack Overflow bounty.
so it has to work both on intranet requests and internet requests.
Yeah, so it's probably gonna have to forward to the 254. Since we don't think that, we can't find any evidence that the proxy can allow a pass-through, right, of a DNS request.
Okay, one free, okay.
One, yeah, and I mean the vending machines here, not the ones at the airport that have Bose headphones.
Oh, one of the ones here, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
this was good use of time, I mean, right?
Yeah.
Looking at things, it's validating to see somebody else look at something and be puzzled, I think. Just like what we were talking about at the beginning of class when, you know, I see somebody else at work ask something or I ask a question and somebody's like, no, that's not a dumb question. I believe in dumb questions, by the way. Have I said that? Dumb questions are encouraged and welcome here.
Yes.
Because,
No such thing as a stupid question.
well, there's two kinds of, those questions fall into two categories. One that somebody can answer and it's great. Tristan answered that question about semicolons. That's not a dumb question. It's like you stare at it and you just don't see it. You need
Right.
a fresh set of eyes, right? That's a psychological thing. It just happens. I almost missed the quotes around mine and Axel had to tell me to put the semicolons on after we'd already talked about it, right? And then there's the kind where you get validation because somebody says, I've seen that before, but I can't remember, or wow, that's a good question, I don't know either. So you just always ask, right? And so we spent a lot of good time here validating that the network configuration looks really similar to what Axel's got in his, well, it looks the same as what Axel's got in his guide, so it's something else maybe that's wrong or different. Could be something to do with the DNS, the bind installation itself. And if we start with a server that has Axel's configuration and the DNS all works, right? You can resolve with NSLOOKUP or dig. That's what I would suggest, right? You do that, you get that far, and then you install bind, and now it doesn't work. Then we know it's something with bind, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I would go with it.
Okay.
And Tristan, you'd have to, if you're involved, you'll have to come here to get that vending machine item.
Yeah,
I guess we could send it to you via somebody else, but they might eat half of it on the way there.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
delivery
will
fee.
not have an issue being there in person next week as my little brother's football games end this week. So next week I can very easily get a ride there via my own
Nice.
family
Did he get to go to the Pro Bowl?
to the Pro Bowl.
Well, whatever, I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea.
You can always text me if you need a lift too. I usually leave pretty early.
Oh, I
Yeah.
also has started a discussion of the Bash Command Hall of Fame. But he's got the meeting chat. I see RMRF no preserved root.
What are you doing?
Remember last year, Tristan, when we were looking at snapshots in VMware, and we took that day to see how much stuff we could get rid of and still do something on the instance?
Oh yeah, I
before we
remember
restored the
that.
snapshot.
Wait, couldn't you like literally remove the boot directory and
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you were
we removed
perfectly
all sorts
fine?
of stuff. It got really hard when we removed bin.
That was great.
It was,
But
but it was,
That was fun.
yeah, I think, I mean, there were things that you could remove and then you were just done. Like, if you removed the TTYs, the terminal files.
Yeah.
Couldn't see much after that. There were just some things that once you did it, you're like, okay, I'm done now. I better go restore and we'll do it again. But yeah, that was fun. I don't think we need to do that this year, but
I
Um,
mean,
we
It's
might
always
do
fun.
it as a break or something for fun.
let's see, how much can you remove and still have your computer boot?
Yeah, we just
The
saying,
answer is everything, because your computer, because the boot is not in the Linux system, it's in your computer.
have your OS bootstrap. And yeah, it gets into, had somebody kind of lecturing, he wasn't lecturing, correcting me because I was in this forum for the development of a phone operating system, and I referred to it, as people do, as a ROM. And he said, it's not a ROM. And I said, well, because ROMs are read-only. I said, well, once it's installed, it's read-only. He said, yeah, but it's written. I said, everything, this is all about I decided to try to raise his bar a little bit. And I said, well, everything that's read-only was written once, right? It's all about context. Physical and logical is all about context. Some things are, what's physical to the OS is logical to the drive controller, and it was an interesting discussion. I said, have you ever heard of EPROMs? And I can't remember exactly what it stands for, so I had to look it up, but erasable is part of it, programmable read-only memories is, wait, these shouldn't be called, but they are, aren't they? And it's so then these are chips, well, it should be, he just went on and on. It's like, oh, that's interesting, here's something else interesting you can look at. But
All ROMs are randomly accessible.
yeah, but they're, at one point or another, they're writable, that's what he couldn't, before you use them as a read-only device, they were written. And that's what he was, and I said, if you get the right technology, even if it was written by, a manufacturing process, well, it was written by a manufacturer, you could get somebody who could write a different chip and sneak it in there, and they just rewrote your ROM.
Yeah.
That's pushing it though,
You
right
mean
there.
rewrote?
That's
You
a
mean
stretch.
Rewrote your ROM?
Huh?
You mean Reed wrote your ROM?
Yeah, he wasn't having any of it, but anyway, yeah, that's the offer for this week. Working DNS server, I'll stick around here for a few minutes and put in some specifications. Or you can invent some. You wanna put out a good working spec on what the definition, we call this the definition of done. Right? When we put in a ticket, if somebody has to do something, it's not always there, but a good ticket, a good specification has a definition of done. You'll know you're done when this happens, when you've met these criteria. And the reason for that is scope creep. Right? If somebody says, we need to change this web page so that customers can do X. And then the problem is that somebody else says, well, if they can do X, wouldn't it be natural that they should be able to like undo X or do X in bulk?
Or do Y?
Yeah, and then so the thing just gets bigger and bigger. And so, but the original ticket says, you'll know you're done when the customer can do X, the definition of done. And so people then know to say, that's a great idea, put it in a different ticket, because that's not part of this ticket, right? So anybody want to take a stab at putting something in a homework thread for next week that includes how to includes the the assignment for making a working DNS server and the reward of a vending machine item for each participant.
The GoDaddy vending machine item.
GoDaddy vending machine item, and then if it's a good spec, I will endorse it.
Hmm.
Anybody?
You must be able to run NSLOOKUP with the server as the DNS server and get a accurate answer for google.com without any errors.
That's perfect, and that's a unit test, right?
Okay, what if I just have a thing, what if my DNS server just says, return, when I receive google.com, return this address?
Well, we'll have to verify that it's not, we're gonna be checking your Etsy host file to make sure that it's hard coded.
No, all you
Also, there
specify-
may or may not be other randomly generated like domain names, like for instance, gmail.com, because google.com is one thing, but can you also ping and then we will choose the third tab that's currently pulled open on Chris's device and then
Yeah, so
ping
just
that
say it-
domain name. And then if
Just
that
say it
goes
needs
through, it's
to-
good.
Just say it needs to resolve a set of names of Chris's choosing.
Oh, Chris.
Oh, true. That works.
Alright.
That'll shoot Axel's foot off right there.
Question, what if you specify a domain that is not registered?
Then I wouldn't be, you have
That
to,
would not be a fair contest.
yeah, you have to trust me to be
you have a
in
script.
good faith,
You have
right?
to, you,
Yeah,
Then
once
again,
again,
you-
of Chris's choosing.
I want you
Chris
guys to
works at
learn, I'm not
GoDaddy.
gonna cheat you.
Then again, you are calling yourself benevolent, so I doubt you would do
Yeah,
that.
no, I'll play right. So,
okay, good.
yeah,
All right.
you
Well,
wanna put something out there, Tristan, and then I'll give it the okay?
oh, what do you mean? Oh, a domain?
No, I just thought you're kind of thinking through this. What I was asking for was if somebody could put a new thread for this week's homework under the homework stream.
Okay.
And put like a specification out for what a good DNS server would look like, and then the thing that says anybody who participates in building such a server this week will get a free vending machine item from the GoDaddy vending machine.
I would. However, I have to leave fairly soon to go to my grandmother's house.
Okay, well, this
I
is
don't
to
know
be right
why.
now. Anybody else wanna do it? Axel?
I can
I'm
do it.
writing it up right now.
Axel's doing it, sweet. Then I'll look
Nice.
at it, I have a pull request from Axel, I'm remembering that.
Is it the first one to get it, or is it anyone who participates?
Anybody?
I would
That's
say
a
if
good
it's a
point.
team, it would be everybody on the team if you do it together, and if somebody does it independently, they get it too. So it's not,
Hey, wait a minute. So if we participate in the team and do it on our own, then we get two.
no,
Oh, come on.
unless you persuade me that you did something
Better-
different and above and beyond on yours.
Like use DNS mask instead of bind 9.
No, the
Oh.
DNS mask is much easier.
Well, then
Set
what
up
do you
two
do?
of them and implement Anycast.
Any cast? Oh, multicast. Okay.
No, not multicast, Anycast.
Dude,
Or what's it called? The one where if you're closer to one geographically, that's the one you get.
Oh, okay.
Forget, I don't know how you
I
do
mean,
that on,
there has to. Well, but the server's stationary. It's not
no,
moving.
that's the problem.
that's.
You need two servers and a geographic distance, and so just kind of forget that. I was just trying to think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know I'd hate to have you chase down something just for me to say, but that's easy.
True. That's a fair point. Oh, but
So-
that's all right. Really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could ping me during the week on Zulip, because I watch Zulip a lot more closely than email. I'm terrible at watching email, and just ask me if I
Well-
think it would qualify.
Well, so how about this? Let's just first create a working DNS server,
I think that's a good idea.
like ping google.com, gmail.com, whatever, and it works. Then ask Chris for an extra challenge after that.
Ooh, here we go. And just remember, ping won't work through the proxy.
Right.
True. Yeah.
I understand what you mean. Yep. Don't make that a criteria for success. That's all I'm
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Oh my gosh, pinggoogle.com is not working. And then wget from google.com, and what do you know?
Yeah. Wget or curl are good. And just dig, dig is fine. It's
True.
Dig works, then you're good.
Yeah.
Axel's all over it. He's
All right.
having somebody who's good at documentation like this is a woo-hoo
Yeah.
for the third hour.
Oh yeah. By
So-
far.
So
And
I did
having
that for 12.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I've got to leave pretty soon.
I'm just gonna post this to Zulip and then I'll be going, I guess.
Okay,
No, I'm just waiting for my laptop to charge up a little bit.
I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
put
look
Zulip
at
anyways.
GitHub. What's it called? GitHub SQL Civ. That's the one. Excuse me. I've got a PR.
All right. I've got to go now. Goodbye.
Yep. Bye.
See you.
Where's mine? There we are.
I just use these, should be correct. Files changed. Oh no, well, let me see it as, how will it let me see it? I think if I look at it raw somehow, it will show it as markdown. If I just click that, I didn't, oop-de-doo. Now I'm gonna waste a little time trying to
On the
see this
right,
the
the
way I look.
document view.
Upper right?
Yeah, upper right, the document view. Right below that.
Dude.
To the right.
Dude,
Yep.
thank you. Hey, where did you put this?
Documentation iseage setting up proxy for Ubuntu server.
New location. Excellent. I like it. It's good. And what 4 letters am I gonna put in this box? One of the first things you have to learn about GitHub code reviews. L G T.
Oh, looks good to me.
Looks good to me.
That's 4 letters. You said 3. Oh.
My coherence is down, my watch says. I might have said 3. I might have said 5. I don't know. So I'll prove it. And then it'll say it has no conflicts with the base branch, so I can come in here. And only those with write access can merge pull. It's my repo. It's a wants to merge into SQL Civ main from Axel. Oh, I might have protected this branch. I'll figure this out very quickly here. Oh, that's a help page. I don't want that. I thought it would jump me over. This is my repo. That's good. I'm expecting to see a merge button here, right? This is good.
Looks like you approved it, so did it merge?
No, I have to merge it. It's a separate process because sometimes, like with, this is important actually. And actually you can see one of the ways this happens, you can see this actions tab up here. A lot of times there are workflows attached to GitHub Actions. So if I approve, if I merge a PR into the main branch, a workflow might kick off to deploy the code. And so there's a difference between when we code review and approve the PR and when we merge it. We might approve a whole bunch of PRs, but then have a release that has a bunch of these PRs that we merge. And when we merge it, that's when the code deploys. If we auto merged it, we'd have all these deployments all the time, right? So,
Which would be not ideal.
which would be very bad. Okay, so I think this has to do with some repo settings that I just haven't paid attention to. Where are my settings? What is going on? I am the owner of this repo. I'm really sure about this because look, that's SQL system. That's me. Oh! This is my how did I approve this as my other? This is my GoDaddy. Anybody can approve it. It just doesn't always mean anything. So,
Oh, well, there you go.
yeah, that's probably the reason right there. Look, I've got many of these.
A lot.
That's a lot.
There's only 2 that I really use.
YubiKey.
Yeah, it's wanting me to start using passkeys, and that's getting in my way sometimes.
There it is.
That's 2023. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Still, so one thing I need to fix is that it shouldn't have allowed the approval to come from that account. So I'm gonna go, just to be good about this, files changed. And I'm gonna say YouTube. Merge this. Well, squash and merge, it doesn't matter. But this is like if you had a whole bunch of PRs, or a whole bunch of commits rather in your PR, it'll put it all together like it was one commit. I think it keeps the history kind of tidier.
Yeah, there's a couple commits there, so that's a good idea.
So, yeah. So this will look like one thing in the merge, I think. Yeah. So do that. Now that should be good. I can actually go in. It'll tell me that it's good. Oh, where does it say? Oh, we're not. It's not a branch. Okay. If it was a branch, like we were talking about earlier, it'll give me the option to delete the branch now because it doesn't matter anymore.
But it was a fork.
Yeah. So we come here. Documentation. Because documentation has nothing in it. Git and GitHub don't actually store any separate representation of that folder. That's why it's grayed out. And so it just stores a reference to documentation image as one thing. Or documentation iseage, sorry. And so then this is here. There it is. Woo, woo. And everybody's favorite thing. Where is it? Blame. We blame Axel. What's the, hey, it doesn't show your, oh, there it is, Axel Rasmussen. Settings, I've got branches. I don't have any protection rules. There we go. So main branch, require a pull request, require approvals, dismiss stale pull requests when new commits are pushed. That means, yeah, we want to do that. Require review from code owners. I don't think I have a code owners file in there. Has to be the most reviewable, the most recent push. Status checks, I don't have any defined. Conversion, yeah, if I leave a conversation, if somebody makes a comment, you can actually go in there and say, I'm resolving this conversation. Make sure you look at them. Sign commits, linear history, deployments to succeed. We don't have deployments. Block the branch. Yes, read only. Do not allow bypassing the above settings. Requires an approved review in pull request, including files with a designated code owner. What happens if I turn that on now? I don't think I have a code owner's file.
Well, you own the code.
Yeah, but I think this is a different. We'll see when the next PR pops up. So, for example, if this is one I have memorized barely. For this repo, there's this code owners file. And in here, it says that the group GD Corp domains, DRID, the rest of this is all sample commented out, but this specifies who owns this code. And I think that might be where it knows. This might just be, so I'm not sure if I need this or not. This either specifies who has to do the code review, or it specifies when there's a pull request. We just moved these to the public GitHub, so there aren't many. It would specify who it gets assigned to, but there's no assignees here, so. Oh, that was somebody else's pull request. That one was special. Should have gone to a PR or to a repo we actually use. Reviewers, DRIDVA, right there. It put those reviewers in that team because this code owners file has this in there. So I'm thinking maybe I need to put myself in a code owners file, that's all. But we'll see. Live and learn, that's what I'm saying. It might mean that I can't put my own stuff in, but I can.
Could you add me as owner of docs then, since I'm gonna be our docs guy? I don't know.
Maybe after a few PRs, I will definitely consider that.
Yeah.
The thing that's most important to me is a what's the word? Well organized layout, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to prove myself then. Fine with that.
So far looks good.
So far, so good.
I should have shut down my machine, I don't care. Let vSphere deal with that.
Yeah, I should probably, as we get moving, I should probably just add everybody as contributors and then do something like require 2 code reviews or something.
Required 2.
I don't know, that's what some of our teams do. Maybe we only need 1. It's a small group. So, but yeah, I wasn't sure if we had people that knew how to do code reviews. Or, I'm sorry, knew how to do GitHub. I figured we did, but I didn't know. And so that's all recording, huh? But